I was terrified because it was in the room.
And all of a sudden, this angry male voice said, "Get out of my house."
I screamed, ran up the door, crying because I was freaked out because we now know it's there.
My ghost story began when I became a tour guide at the Swan Inn in Geneva, Illinois. The Swan Country Inn is a bed and breakfast. Oscar Swan owned the house when it was finished in 1902. So the house is named after Oscar Swan and his family. And we actually believe that his presence is one of many that is still there in the mansion. The house itself has 7 bedrooms. It sleeps up to 21 people. There is a barn. The original structure is still there from the 1900s.
The first time I went to the Oscar Swan mansion, I was creeped out in the beginning. I did not want to go. As soon as we parked the car, I was just nervous to come in the door.
Even if it's during the day, there's this eerie feeling that you get that there's someone there watching you or following you.
I get chills and goosebumps, and you get this overwhelming feeling of creepiness, like something's telling you to get out.
A lot of the guests that stay at the mansion experienced a lot of different activity there. Anything from footsteps to doors opening and closing.
If you ask the morning doors closed, those will swing closed very quietly. Sometimes you won't even notice, and the door will just be sitting wide open, and the door was closed and locked.
We've had people see apparition of a little girl playing peekaboo on the stairs. We've had someone get scratched in the barn. I've seen centerpieces fly off the tables.
The first time I walked into the basement, I was holding on to Janine, and I was just creeped out because it's dark, you don't know what's there. And I looked to my right, and there's a doorway, and I heard a growling. And I screamed, ran up the door, and I was upstairs crying because I was freaked out because you didn't know what it was.
I stopped staying overnight because I had an experience in Oscar's hideaway. It was about maybe 3 a.m. That's when the tours conclude. All the guests were in their rooms asleep, and I locked the door. So I got in the bed, and I kept feeling as if someone was standing on the side of the bed over me. I felt uneasy all night. When the sun started to come up, I finally fell asleep. Well, when I woke up the next morning, the dresser that was in the bedroom was pulled away from the wall, and there was a mirror on the dresser that was about to fall off. I'm freaking out because I locked the door. You can't get in. That freaked me out so bad, I refused to stay overnight with the tours again. We've gotten voices on our audio recorders in there.
You actually hear a lot of whistling in the barn. One day, we caught some of the whistling on the recorder. The fact that we caught the EVP of the whistling just made it all the more real because everyone hears it, and we actually got something to back up our claims. It's interesting to go back through the EVPs and actually find out stuff that you didn't hear on the scene.
There is an angry male voice that comes across sometimes. And this particular voice, straight out, just said, "Get out of my house."
Get out of my house.
It's a deep, husky voice, and it's creepy, eerie to hear it. It could have been Oscar being protective of his house. All I know is I would not want to meet that spirit.
Me and Aaron were standing next to each other in the barn, and whatever spirit energy was there started to communicate with us through our EMF detectors. An EMF detector is a device that is used to pick up electromagnetic fields. If there is something of a supernatural spirit nature near, it would begin to blink.
Can you turn it back on, please?
Holy crap.
Immediately, as soon as she started asking questions, the meter started to respond.
Can you stop it again?
Nice job.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Can you turn it back on?
It's scary, but you want to keep it going. You want to keep communicating because finally you have a response of that nature.
Only turn Janine's off, please.
Thank you.
I was actually very nervous that I was communicating with the spirit, and the fact that since it was responding, it was in the room. I was terrified because we now know it's there.
I just got the chills.
I know.
I captured a photo of the spirit of Oscar Swan in the morning room. I couldn't see anyone when I took the photo. I just had this heavy feeling that someone was standing there. When I looked at the photo, I was completely freaked out. That is the best form of paranormal evidence, spirit on film, that I've ever captured. And I was completely freaked out. I was just frozen. I'm like, oh my God, there was actually someone standing there.
When I first saw it, like, it shocked me to actually see him standing there. You see the details of the facial features, and then you see like the outline of the body.
In the upper right-hand corner of the photo, it clearly looks like the profile of a man's face, and it looks as though the man's face is being smeared away. That photo was taken right directly in front of a portrait that is hanging on the wall of Oscar Swan.
It looks just like him.
I believe that is Oscar Swan's spirit. Hearing spirit voices, seeing shadow figures, having things move by something unseen is convincing. So for me, I've always believed that the spirit moves on, but the experiences at the Oscar Swan have confirmed everything I've always felt.
The Oscar Swan has changed my perspective. Like, you know they're there, you know they're with you, and things can actually happen, like speaking to them and interacting with them.
Can you turn it back on, please?
Holy crap.
Because there is a way in and out of the spirit world on that property, I think it will always be haunted.